Good evening, everyone. If there are any queries you have regarding yesterday, I can already see one query. Okay, so the first query, does the higher soul remain constant throughout all incarnations and only the part of the incarnated soul takes different karmic templates to deal with? Yes, Aman, the higher soul remains constant. That part of our total soul, right? And our total soul is in three basic parts. That is the divine soul, which is constantly and completely connected to the divine source always. The divine soul is constantly connected to the higher soul, and the higher soul is in constant connection with the incarnated soul. The karmic templates, the memories, the energy imprints, all of that remain in that part of the soul that we have called the incarnated soul. So the higher soul remains unaffected by any energy imprint. And of course, the divine soul is never going to be touched by anything except divine consciousness. So I hope that answers your query, Ama.
Yes, thank you very much.
May I ask how it shows up in layer 5? Suvinder, what shows up in layer 5?
So I went through I didn't join yesterday, but I
Yes,
went through the
yes.
session.
Yeah,
So the feelings and emotions from past incarnations, you said, and then you said what the karmic template was.
yeah.
Basically emotions from the past, and you couldn't figure out why. But in the previous layers, you had said sort of how it shows up, like if you kept secrets or when they're not,
How
yeah.
does it manifest?
Yes,
How is
okay.
it manifest? Okay,
Okay, yes.
okay. So, Suvinder, it will manifest, the fifth layer will manifest in, different kinds of unpleasant emotions that we will harbor, right? Whether it is anger, whether it is despair, um, our inability to, you know, to be happy. It sounds silly, but I can't tell you how many people are just unable to be happy. There's nothing really apparently wrong with their lives, but they aren't able to be happy. So these are the manifestations where the emotions are not very positive.
Okay, thank you.
Self-work, self-introspection, inability to have a regulated nervous system so we can respond versus react. Being aware of our patterns, habits, vasanas, inner child is all just as important with this understanding. I have many students who will watch this, and I want to be clear about that. The path of awakening of our chakras and their patterns remain the same. The approach to add the karmic templates is what you're teaching. Am I understanding right? You're absolutely understanding right, Priya. Of course, our inner child issues, the shadow work, the shadows that lie within, all of that remains the same. What we are discussing here is the understanding of where they originate from. So you see, all this while we have been focusing our attention upon the inner child healing, upon the shadow work, um, whatever else you're doing, your nervous system, etc. All of that has worked, but it hasn't given us consistent results permanently. They work for a little bit of time, and then again, there is something that will trigger, there is something that is an old pattern that will come up because the karmic templates have not been cleared. And yesterday we learned how the soul brings our awareness to the karmic templates in cycles. You know, we have often used the example of that spiral staircase where we come back to the same point, right? But only higher. So it's exactly like that. The soul kind of brings us back to that point in a cyclical manner. And if we are not paying attention, as we said, that whisper becomes a shout. So your understanding is completely correct, Priya. Anyone else needs any other query to be answered before we start?
Sorry, Elle.
Yes, Suvinder.
May
Yes.
I ask a situation? I just had recently where I was at work while it was a training, and I was supposed to give feedback on somebody. And it felt very bad giving that feedback, but it was the truth. And it would affect the person's, it has some,
Yeah,
negative
yeah,
effect for him.
yeah,
And then I felt really bad. But then it was asked of me.
yeah.
So how does that fit into
So this
like,
is what you're describing, Suvinder, is a perfect example of the template of enforced silence.
oh,
You see, over incarnations, we have either suppressed our own feelings, or we have had our truths being repressed by external forces. And again, it just like that template of non-forgiveness which I spoke of yesterday, which is a completely universal template. Template of enforced silence is an absolute universal template.
okay.
In some way or the other, it's going to act out in all our lives. And the guilt that you felt, right,
Mhm.
was in fact not the guilt of, oh gosh, that person is going to suffer, but the guilt of speaking up your truth. And
Oh,
that is an interesting one. We don't realize that the guilt is really the guilt of speaking up what is true for us.
oh,
So that was the template you need to kind of,
okay.
focus upon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Difference between a karmic debt and a template. Avan, that's a very, very good question. A karmic debt, Avan, is short lived. If the karmic debt is not addressed, then it turns into a karmic template. A karmic template is an energy imprint that is very, very strong, that has been present in our soul energy for a very long time. A karmic debt starts in one incarnation. And if you are able to resolve it in one incarnation, it will not turn into a karmic template. Now, Avan, the term debt makes us all believe that we owe something to someone else because of that word debt. Technically, it's not even a debt at all that you owe anyone. Um, in that moment, when a soul contract comes into our lives, and I have begun to realize that we have far more soul contracts than we earlier thought. When a soul contract comes into our life, if we can, in that very moment, remember that this is a soul contract, that the soul contract has come for the purpose of helping me clear something, then neither will it be a karmic debt, nor will it be a karmic template.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let us start. Today we are doing a lot of focus upon the karmic templates, but also interestingly, we are going to see, because JadeFire has made me understand how the soul comes into the physical body and how it actually begins to create the chakric system, begins to not create, we come with the chakric system, but as the soul comes into the physical body at the time of birth or just before the time of birth, the chakric system, which is the soul energy, naturally gets stronger because now the soul energy is permanently, for the rest of our life, going to reside within that chakric system. So we're going to see how the soul actually enters, and interestingly, how the soul leaves. Because at the time of death, how does the soul leave, right? How does this chakric energy actually leave the body? And what happens when it leaves the body? So today is a lot of very, very, very interesting information, all based upon what we learned yesterday. We all know that before we incarnate, before the soul is going to incarnate is going to take on another physical vehicle, the soul will create a blueprint. Please remember what we discussed yesterday. All of us have two distinct blueprints. One is the current blueprint and one is the original blueprint. The original blueprint is held by the divine soul, but its awareness, its knowledge, its wisdom, and its guidance is constant through the higher self, through the soul, and naturally then to us. The current blueprint is created by the soul that is going to incarnate. But at no point can the current soul blueprint veer or go against the direction and guidance of the original soul blueprint. That is very clear. So we all know that before the soul incarnates, it has already decided upon its soul blueprint. Now, there are many factors which the soul takes into account when it decides upon the soul blueprint. It's very much akin to the decisions you and I would take if we were to enroll in a school or a university, right? We would look at what does that particular school or university have to offer us. Now, depending upon what that school or university has to offer us, does it fit in with my desires, with my goals, with my plans? And if that particular school is able to offer me something that fits in with my desires and goals and intentions, then I would definitely ensure that I am looking at that school more seriously. Once I've kind of shortlisted 3 or 4 universities that I may want to study in, I may want to enroll in, I will then try to further shortlist even that shortlist by understanding who are the various professors or teachers who are going to teach me. Now, there may be some amazing teachers in a particular university, but those amazing teachers may not be teaching the courses that I have enrolled for. So even though those teachers are fantastic, they don't make difference to me. So I have to look at, these are the courses that I wish to enroll in. These are the lessons that I wish to learn. Which university has the best set of professors who can really help me learn these lessons? So that's a second step that we would take. And the third step that we would look at, the third point that we would look at is, where is this school located? Is it located in an area where I will be happy? Which means, is the area, is it going to be, culturally an area which will enrich me? Is it historically an area that can support me and my growth? Is it climatically an area that I would enjoy living in? We take all of these decisions into account before we enroll in a school. And these decisions and more are what the soul takes when it is going to enroll in the school of life. So it draws out the blueprint and then includes all of these various factors into the blueprint. It might appear to us when we talk in this manner that the blueprint is absolutely set in stone, and it is not, right? So when people say, oh, this is in my chart and I can't change it, nothing could be farthest from the truth. Because whatever is there in your soul charts, whatever is there in your soul blueprint, is a dynamic energy. You have to understand that the soul blueprint is also a field of energy. You see, when I create the soul chart for you and then I send it to you on email and then you print it out in paper, somehow the association is that this paper is my soul chart. No, this paper is not your soul chart. Your soul chart, your soul blueprint is a huge energy field. All I am doing is interpreting that energy field in the way I have been trained to do by JadeFire, and I'm putting it down in my words on paper. And you are receiving just that. So what you are receiving on paper is not your soul blueprint. Your soul blueprint, every one of us has a soul blueprint, which is a vast energy field. Now, that energy field has, what JadeFire says, very many different layers and dimensions. It is not flat, right? It will have different possible soul contracts. Now, what do you mean by different possible soul contracts? Supposing one soul contract comes into my life for X learning and I don't learn, that whisper ebbs, fades away, and the soul would bring in another soul contract, which might be a bit of a nudge, which means that soul contract might ask you to learn that lesson a little more forcefully than the first one. If you don't hear that, then a third one comes in. So you see, there are possibilities of soul contracts that are already in this field of energy. If I have learned my lessons through the first soul contract, then the possibilities, the potential that I had put into this vast energy field of different soul contracts coming to nudge me, push me, shout at me, will all disappear because now I don't need them. I've already listened to the whisper. So in this vast field of energy, we have so many different possibilities that are interwoven. Whenever there is a situation, you and I as human beings have a free will choice. And this free will choice is hugely respected by the universe. The universe has determined that this area of the cosmos, which we call Earth, will be given free will choice. There are other areas which don't have this aspect of free will choice, just as we on Earth don't have the aspects that they do. But we do have free will choice, which means our soul blueprints cannot be fixed. They have to be very, very dynamic in order to accommodate the free will choices we make. But each choice that you make will now open another door, which means it will open another dimension or another layer of your soul blueprint. And with this choice, as this door opens, all the other doors that could possibly have been opened by you will now shut because you have made the free will choice to open that one door. So with every single event, every single experience, every single response or reaction that we bring with us, it will open certain doors which will lead us into different dimensions of our soul blueprint. So our soul blueprint is a massive energy field, because it holds within it hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of possibilities where the mind boggles. I don't think there could be an engineer or a computer scientist who could code this kind of a soul blueprint with so many possibilities. Of course, you have to remember that every possibility has to seamlessly dovetail with the possibilities that exist in the soul blueprint of the potential soul contracts. My soul contract is not the most important. It is the most important for me, yes, but it cannot take away from another person their divine free will choice. And that is why JF constantly says that you cannot manifest something where you are attempting to change or you are desirous of changing someone else's behavior, someone else's attitude, or someone else's choice. That manifestation will not work. So, can you imagine the many layers of potential and energy that the soul creates before it chooses a physical vehicle and then is born? So, understand that this is very, very important, this aspect of the blueprint. Once that blueprint is kind of, yes, this is going to be the blueprint that I am going with to Earth. It is a dynamic blueprint. It will continue to change as I live as a human being. But for the moment, this is the blueprint that the soul says, I'm satisfied with this version of the final blueprint. Now, this blueprint has to become part and parcel of our tissues, of our glands, of our organs, of our cells. This blueprint lives within you. It is not outside of you in that email. It is not outside of you on that paper. This blueprint lives within you. It is actually part and parcel of your physicality as well. So the soul now knows that this is the blueprint energy. And the soul will ensure that as the physical body develops, please listen to this carefully. The soul ensures that as the physical body develops, the physical body is going to be structured in that way that is best for this particular soul blueprint to live within it, to dwell within it. And that is why the soul, from 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, keeps coming in and out of the physical body. As the body is still in the mother's womb, the soul will keep coming in and out of the physical body in order to ensure, yes, the structure is what I desire. It's like if you were building a holiday home, you may not go and live on the building site for all that the time that it takes to be built, but you will definitely make very frequent trips in order to ensure that the builders are building exactly as per your plan. You are also ensuring that if there are any changes that need to be made, you are present to make those changes. That is why the soul keeps coming into the body and saying, okay, this seems to be going well. No, I think we need to change this a little bit. So it's actually the architect of the body. The body. Now, for me, this was quite an aha moment. Somewhere, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that there is a body and the soul says, yes, I like this body and I will occupy this body. And that doesn't happen. It is the soul that creates the body. This, for me, cleared up one doubt that I've always had in my mind. Why are certain people born with disabilities or emotional issues or mental issues or even physical diseases at a very, very young age, right? Like children being born with something. The soul ensures that the human body that it is the architect of gives the soul the exact experience that the soul has chosen for itself. Very important to remember that the soul does not use adjectives. So the soul does not say, oh my God, this will be very difficult. Oh, I'm going to be so sick. This is good. This is not good. This is really ugly. The soul doesn't even know these adjectives. Adjectives are completely created and determined by the brain and nothing else. The soul doesn't have adjectives at all in its vocabulary. So, what does it have in its vocabulary? It has awareness, it has evolution, it has liberation, it has merger. That's all it has. Everything falls under this. Does this provide me with evolution? Does this provide me with liberation? Liberation as in from the karmic templates. Does it aid my merger back into divine source? If it does, its awareness says, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what I need. So the body is created, is engineered in a very specific way for the soul to have all the experiences it will ever need in that one lifetime. Once that body is created, then the soul has to come in, right? The first step to a chakric system is taken before the birth of the human body. JF says it is taken in the last trimester, generally, right? There are times when this doesn't work. For example, if a soul chooses that for my experience, I should be born in 6.5 months and then be in an incubator, right? Then that human body is not going to face that last trimester. So the chakric system would naturally have to be brought in much earlier. But generally, the last trimester is when the chakric system starts forming. How? Very interesting. Remember that the incarnated soul already has energies of the past imprinted within it. What are these energies? Two distinct energies. One is the energy of wisdom gathered. If you have lived, let us assume 100 lives, yes, you may have karmic templates from those, but you also have garnered a lot of wisdom. You have also garnered a lot of gifts that you have developed. You have grown in wisdom. You have knowledge of different things. So all of that is a part of the soul's energy. But also a part of the soul's energy are the karmic templates. JF says, in the very first, and this is interesting, so pay attention. In the very first incarnation that you took, I don't know whether it was thousands of years ago or millions of years ago, no idea. But in the very first incarnation that any human being takes, the soul comes only with the wisdom aspect. And it is not the wisdom gathered by the soul, because the soul hasn't lived. This is the first incarnation for the soul. So the soul comes with divine wisdom, because it needs that to live in the physical world. As the soul enters the human body closer and closer to birth, and then rapidly after birth, every time the soul enters, the soul's energy begins to slow down, densify, in order to fit the human body. This was another aspect that JF said. Your human body may be able to fit an X frequency of energy, and my human body may be able to fit a Y frequency of energy. The soul will densify to suit each one of us and our human body. The human body, of course, is created in order to suit the soul's purposes. And the soul's energy will find its own level of comfort in that human body. For a person whose karmic templates, I'm trying to say this in words because JF gives me impressions, and sometimes saying that in words becomes challenging. A person whose karmic templates energy far outweigh the energy of wisdom garnered through incarnations, their human body will be engineered and can hold very, very slow frequency soul energies. But a person who has lived many, 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 many lives and has garnered a lot of gifts and wisdom, and has therefore propelled itself upon the path of evolution, will be able to hold soul energies of a much higher frequency. Now, before you get into judgmental mode, the soul does not judge this as good or bad, as positive or negative. It is what it is. If today you believe that your body is engineered to host a soul energy that is of a higher frequency, let your vanity not make you forget that there was a time when your body could host a very, very dense, slow frequency energy. So, when we understand that this has also been our journey, how can we judge someone? They are today where we were yesterday, and they shall be here tomorrow in exactly the same place, and we hope we will have moved tomorrow and that we are not stuck in this place tomorrow. So you see, the soul doesn't make any judgments. This is the wisdom energy. This is the karmic templates energy. When I put the two together, this is the resultant frequency vibration that this human body should have, so that the soul can be hosted, that the soul can attach itself through the tissues, through the various points we discussed yesterday, and the soul can be comfortable. Before we move on to anything, because now I'm going to tell you how the soul comes in, and we're going to discuss each chakra and the templates. Anything you don't understand here. My mom was 75% going to lose me at 3 months, but I was saved by doctors. So the soul did what? When the experience is like this at 3 months, Suvinder, where the soul is not really residing within that fetus at that time. It's only the architecture of the body that's taking place, right?
Mm-hmm.
You came in, as in you means the soul,
Mm-hmm.
came in and said, I will give you, it told its mother, I'm your soul contract. I will give you this experience.
Mm.
So that experience was not for you. That experience was for your mother.
Oh.
But if you had had the same experience when you were 7.5 months, then that experience would have been for you, where the soul inside would, the body inside would have felt fear of survival.
Oh. Okay.
Right? So
Yes.
that's what happened.
Thank
What
you.
about womb experiences then, like unknown pregnancy, like you and me, leading to what we thought were lessons on who am I and am I worthy? Absolutely right, jokes. The womb experiences that both you and I have had, where interestingly, both Jogita and I had experiences where throughout the 9 months period, neither was her presence ever acknowledged, because the mother didn't know she was there, nor was my presence acknowledged. My mother didn't know I was there. Let's not get into, but how did that happen? It did. Jokes, that is because we both have a common karmic template. And those karmic templates are in the root chakra, the templates of fear of survival, the templates of lack of belonging. In the sacral chakra, the templates of nurturance. So we have these. And interestingly, your soul and mine said, you know what? And I think you just followed me, jokes. You just copied me because I'm much older than you. So I decided on this soul blueprint, and you said, hey, she's decided, even I'll do that.
Yeah, that's why we met, no? Like
Huh,
the
yeah.
same axis and
Same
same
axis,
everything.
same everything. And then you just said, forget it. Now, why should I decide?
Why
She's
reinvent
already
the
decided.
wheel?
Let me just copy her.
That's why reinvent the wheel? Let
Yeah,
me just learn
yeah.
from her. I'm so wise.
You're so wise. And then we decided at this point in time, when you have had your experiences and I have had my experiences, then we'll come together as soul contracts again for another exchange, right? So this is definitely when we have womb experiences like this, where you and the kind that we had, these are definitely our templates, and our mother is our soul contract. So the mother
when
becomes
you
a soul contract who says, listen, I'll give you that experience.
Yeah, but then the soul still comes in like the last trimester.
It comes in exactly the same. The mother apparently doesn't know, because that is what, as a soul contract, she said, okay, that's your choice. You want to play out this, so I'll play it out with you. So the mother comes in as the soul contract. Yeah. How would you explain abortions, miscarriages? When does the soul come in? Is there a karma if a person aborts a child? These are such huge questions, Aman, and I genuinely want you to understand that I'm going to answer very, very generally, because these questions, the answers will differ genuinely, Aman, from person to person. First of all, abortions and miscarriages are very, very often, I wouldn't even say very often, I would rather go to say almost always, experiences that the soul, the mother of the soul, has undertaken, right? Definitely, miscarriages are experiences for the mother, right? Now, the karma of a person aborting a child. In certain sessions, Aman, when a lady comes to me or the couple comes to me and says, we're pregnant, but we don't want the child, can we abort? And I look into their energy field, and sometimes I'm given the answer, go ahead, free will choice. If there is a free will choice, of course, there is no karma. There have been times when very clearly the message has come through, break the karmic template. So this pattern of avoidance, the template is not, there is no template of abortion. The template is of avoidance, avoiding something that you fear or something that you think is ugly or something that, whatever. You have to clear that template, which means stop following the same patterns, which means this person would have done the same thing incarnationally over and over again. So there is a karmic template of avoidance. There is no sin, there is no punishment, but there is a karmic template. So you see, Avan, I can't answer that question with full conviction because I don't know the person, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Would that mean abortions in early pregnancy would not involve too much violence to the soul? First of all, Nilaya, no abortion at any time involves violence to the soul. Let me explain why. Whether I want to abort the fetus at 1 month or whether I want to abort it at 4 months, I think after 4 months, in any case, technically, legally, we are not allowed. There is no violence to the soul. Please remember, the soul is creating the body, and the soul has chosen the mother as a contract, right? Which means when the mother wants to abort, at a soul level, soul to soul, the mother's soul will inform that soul, hey, I'm not going through with this contract. There is free will choice. I'm not going through with this contract. Sorry, but I can't do this. And the soul says, fair enough, your free will choice, I respect it. I will look for another soul contract. So there is no violence to the soul ever, right? Please elaborate, when the mother makes a choice to abort, what would be the karmic consequences? Now, here again, Nilaya, as I said, this, you asked me the same question as Avan, you know, in clear sessions, I have been given permission to tell that person, go ahead, which means there is no karma. And in others, there have been very clear instructions, you are strengthening the karmic template. So this changes person to person. If possible, explain the concept of Pitrudosh for abortion, miscarriage, and do Tarpanam. I am not sure what Tarpanam Shrad is. I am so sorry, Jyoti, but completely out of my realm of understanding. But I think my answers will have given you some kind of clarity already, right? I hope it has, because I don't understand this Tarpanam Shrad and all that. I'm so sorry. Okay. Can we go into something else? Move on? Or is there something you still need to ask? When we break the soul contract with an abortion, in the human realm, it appears that one is, yes, I agree with you, Nilaya. In the human realm, it seems to us as though I'm going back on my word. In the soul realm, there's no going back on your word. The soul, every soul knows that there is a contract, but you have a free will choice, which Nilaya, I want you to hear this. A free will choice overrides a contract. A free will choice overrides a contract. That is why, Nilaya, let me give you an example of a client of mine, of course, without naming her. She got married to XYZ. Fantastic relationship during their dating and everything. As soon as they got married, he, within a year, stopped paying attention to her sexually, physically. There was no emotional abuse, right? There was no physical abuse, nothing. He treated her very well. He respected her, looked after her very well. He was very wealthy, so she had no dearth of anything. But no physical intimacy, no sexual intimacy, which was not the case when they were dating. When they were dating, there was a huge amount of sexual intimacy. How we discussed and what happened in the sessions, we don't want to go into. But after about 5 or 6 years, of course, we realized in the sessions that there was a soul contract and we understood what that contract was. After 5 or 6 years, he told her, he said, I can't do this. I don't want you to live miserably because I know you are miserable. I know you want a child. I don't even want a child. And I'm really not attracted to you anymore sexually. So let's call it quits. And he really looked after her and gave her a very adequate compensation and everything. She got married a few years later, a second time. This time, her husband didn't sexually turn away from her immediately. But after 4 or 5 years, he started making unkind comments about her body, which was so shocking because she is a stunner. Unkind comments about her body, and it was clear he was not attracted to her. That's when she came to me. What is happening? Why am I having these same pattern? Her original contract was with her first husband. But the first husband's soul chose to break that contract and chose a different path of his soul blueprint. Remember, I told you many possibilities of soul contracts are in our soul blueprint energy field. So another soul contract came in. She had to she had to look at a particular karmic template. Today, she is in a relationship. She's not married, but it's now a long-term relationship. She's so happy. So happy. There's everything in that relationship that she could ask for. So she worked on her soul contracts. She forgave her soul contracts, realized their purpose, worked on the karmic templates, and today she is reaping the benefits of it. So I hope that makes you understand soul contracts a little more. When we end a soul contract, does that individual we end? No. No, Tushita, that person does not always need to leave our lives. It happens very often, yes, that person may leave your life. But I have on significant number of occasions found that when a soul contract, if I choose to end my soul contract with you, right, you may not leave my physical life, but you and I would be able to live without conflict. I'm glad I've relieved your mind, Nilaya. Glad. What are the indications that the blueprint? You'll never have any indication, Suvinder, that the blueprint is deviating. Why? Because the brain is not part of this equation. And the blueprint is not deviating, Suvinder. The blueprint is modifying itself according to the soul.
Because it's dynamic.
Because it's dynamic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's go on. Amazing questions, and I loved it because it took us to quite a depth. Now, one of the most important aspects in the energy of the soul blueprint is the karmic templates, of course. For me to eliminate a karmic template, I have to go beyond the veils of forgetfulness. Remember, I told you every time the soul's energy comes into the body, into the fetus, the soul's energy is densifying, right? Do you know why it's densifying? It's densifying because there is a kind of a, imagine an overlay of another energy over the soul. That overlay of another energy over the soul, JadeFire says, the veils of forgetfulness. For us to have a human existence, an earthly existence, we have to be primarily focused upon our physical existence and not get lost in the cosmic kind of avoidance where we use meditation, we use prayer, we use all of that as avoidance. Can't tell you how many people I know who use it as avoidance. There is no greater self karma than avoiding physical experiences. You may think that leaving everything and going away into an ashram or spending 12 hours a day on cosmic study and meditation and prayer is great. It may be great if that is the soul blueprint. But generally, spending so much time not focusing on the physical experience shows a very strong template of avoidance. So you are distracting yourself with spiritual stuff. In order for these karmic templates to be learned, we have as souls chosen certain lessons. If I learn, for example, if I learn about trust, if I learn about faith, the template of fear shall be eliminated. If I learn about my own power, my divine authority, the template of aggression, powerlessness shall be eliminated. If I learn the lesson of empathy, of loving acceptance, the template of judgmentalism, the template of separation, the template of meanness, the template of cruelty, these templates shall be eliminated. So, in order to eliminate templates, we have to learn certain lessons. All these lessons center on the self and not the outside world. JF says there is no lesson that you have to learn, and please pay attention to this. There is no lesson that you have to learn which has anything to do with anyone else but you. It does not include your parents, it does not include your children, it does not include your partners, it doesn't include your friends, and it certainly doesn't include your enemies. In fact, the very fact that you can call someone an enemy shows a very heavy karmic template of separation. These templates are all about self. The chakric system is calibrated right? Now, when you say calibrated means what? It has a certain frequency vibration. The chakric system has a certain frequency vibration that can hold many things. One is definitely the karmic templates, right? Two, it has to hold the wisdom and gifts garnered from past incarnations as well. Three, it has to hold the potential energy of soul contracts. The potential energy of soul contracts. Remember, I told you this lady's husband, a year after her marriage, was sexually turned away from her. Whereas during their dating period, they had a very, very active sexual life. You know that the soul contract is coming. So you prepare that space for the soul contract. So there is this sexual dynamism between the two. Then they get married, which was necessary for the soul contract. And then the contract is active. So you see that sexual dating period was setting the ground for the soul contract. So the soul's energy, when it is calibrated, has to also hold all potential soul contracts, because one contract can be renegotiated and another contract comes in its place. And it holds the energies of lessons we haven't learned. When I looked through that list of lessons, I was like, I don't think I've learned any one of them. I am in the process of learning many of them. I don't think I've learned fully even one of them. So when you get this information, which we shall now discuss, I want you to be 100% honest with yourself, because if you aren't, and if you want to trick yourself into believing that you are goody two shoes because you come from a space of low self-esteem, please don't do that. No, I haven't learned 100% any of these lessons, but I'm still an absolutely amazing human being and I love myself. The lessons you have not learned, to the degrees you have not learned them, does not identify you as stupid or bad or evil, nothing. Remember yesterday what we said, we cannot use these adjectives for anyone, because then it means that we are judging their soul. It means that we are judging our soul. So let's understand these lessons from the point of view of our chakric system, which is, of course, now we know our soul's energy, right? Before we go into it, I'm going to read out what I've written in very big, bold, so that I don't forget to tell you these words of JadeFire. The only way to transmute a karmic template is to recognize its purpose. The only way to transmute a karmic template is to recognize its purpose. And then he goes on, knowing that all experiences are self-created lessons designed not for punishment, but for liberation. Now, that is like a big, big, big statement. Knowing that all experiences are self-created lessons designed not for punishment, but for liberation. It puts everything upon its head. If we can pay attention to this one sentence, to this one statement, never will we judge anyone ever again. Never will we blame anyone ever again. In fact, the only thing that will happen is gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And we are going to talk in more detail about this soul contracts and the gratitude. So when JadeFire was talking to me about soul contracts, I asked him, I said, I think I know the answer, but I'm still going to ask you, why are certain contracts so harsh and other contracts are so pleasant? For example, my soul contract with Jogita is a pleasant one, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. But I have had a soul contract with another very dear, actually two very dear friends, which have ended so unpleasantly. And the reason why I'm using this example is all three are dear friends. Two were, one is. So I asked why. Why are certain contracts so harsh, so hurtful? And other contracts are so pleasant, so easy, so light, so expansive. And I want to read out his answer. Positive contracts are with souls who help us to experience joy, love, trust, and connection. They are there for one purpose: to remind us of our divine nature. So they are not there to help us with karmic template elimination. They are there to remind us of our divine nature. These relationships act as resting places and as integration points for you. So I asked him, what does that mean? He says, in your journey, if you're going from event to event, experience to experience, there are times you just need to rest, to feel light, to feel easy. They come into your life as soul contracts for that. They are your safe, soft landing spots. And they are very, very clearly your integration points, where they help you to integrate everything that you have learned and maybe help you to see what else you need to learn. When I was told this, for me, my soul contracts of my three friends who are so beyond friends, they are my everything. They are my everything. And when I don't meet them weekly, I get into like a withdrawal symptom. They truly are my integration points. Just by talking to them, by sharing with them, I'm able to, with their help, integrate. And we do this for each other. We integrate what we know. We integrate what we see, what we don't know. And so from that point of view, these soul contracts are so important. But we also design, he goes on, you also design what you have called negative contracts. These are with souls who agree to play roles in your life that will provoke pain, conflict, betrayal, or rejection. They are not punishments. These are sacred opportunities for you to understand the karmic templates of non-forgiveness, non-compassion, and ignorance. These souls, listen to this, these souls love you deeply. In fact, more deeply than some of your positive soul contracts. Their love is apparent because they agree to mirror the shadows within you so that you can see them and heal them. I just burst into tears when I was writing this. They are the closest soul friends you have, the ones who come to you and agree to play roles that are so hurtful, so unpleasant. I'm going to read out this because for me, this was just, I guess it's because I'm working on something. So for me, this was so important. From your soul's higher perspective, no contract is better or worse. Each one is a carefully created encounter designed only to bring you balance and completion. You may call it a negative experience, but you do so because it is pushing you to grow beyond and out of your comfort zone. It is pushing you to integrate aspects of yourself that you have disowned, that you have denied. These are the experiences, and only these experiences shall help you to dissolve your karmic imprints. So we need the ones that help us to integrate, the ones that just help us to rest. But we need these other soul contracts to an extent that I think is far more important and valid than the positive ones. Bit confused, sorry for my ignorance. Is soul, prints and contracts the same thing, and how can one know about it? The soul blueprint, Jyoti, is what I described. It's that entire field of energy. Inside that field of energy lie the energy of karmic templates as well. Before I move on to the chakras, anything that you want to ask about soul contracts? Because I want us to leave this program, this 2-day program, never feeling hurt again, never blaming again, never getting angry again, never playing the victim again. Because if we continue to blame, if we continue to play the victim, if we continue to judge, if we continue to get angry, if we continue to react, we are not understanding the purpose. And JF says the moment you fully understand the purpose, the karmic template is erased. The karmic template is erased in that moment of full awareness. So soul contracts are so important. What contract do I have with my parents? They sent me away as soon as I was born. And my mother till today still refuses to acknowledge me while she loves my brother. I am so sorry, Aruna, for that experience that you had. I don't know what your contract is. You have to figure your contract. No one knows your life better than you do. No one knows your experiences, your feelings, what you know and what you don't know. I'm sorry, but I cannot sit so many miles away from you and think that I can give you this answer. No, I can't give you that answer. It has to be, for all of us, it has to be a huge self-introspection. But that self-introspection should start from the point of, thank you, Mother, for playing this role in my life. Thank you for giving me this experience. I now will turn inwards to understand the experience. That has to be the starting point. Yes, Shireen?
Also, this is something that I've been discussing. We had a family discussion also about it today. One of the most recent karmic templates that is emerging for me all the time is of feeling less valued. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and today also there was somebody who called me and I missed his call, but I was again that whole thing played out. Okay, he's calling me because he has nothing else to do. And I asked this question on my family chat. Okay, now, so following from your example yesterday, I immediately did the Ho'oponopono for myself, saying that
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I don't value myself enough, and I will work on it. But now my question is, given the soul contracts, I also, what I started doing recently is I was on this spree that, okay, I want to value myself. And so I'm going to take a pair of scissors and cut out all the people in my life who don't value me enough.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm not very sure whether that is the right thing to do. I mean, how many people are we going to cut off just because they don't
That
value
whether
us?
you cut them out or not, Shireen, is not for me to answer. But if you do cut them out with gratitude. You do not cut them out with blame or condemnation. You cut them out with gratitude to say, thank you very much. Thank you for making me aware of my template of low self-worth, low self-esteem, uh, lack of self-love. Thank you for drawing my attention to this template. I do not choose to hold you back anymore. I release you from this soul contract so you can continue your soul journey. That is how we release people. That is how we release people. And Shireen, there are many of my clients here as well. Whenever we work on releasing soul contracts, they will vouch for me. The first few days, we are not working on the release of the soul contract. We are working on gratitude, nothing else but gratitude. And what I make them do is visualize that you are bowing deeply and touching the feet of that person. That is the level of reverence and that is the level of gratitude for a soul contract. Because who would play that role in your life? A person, if your house was filthy and dirty and gunky and smelly, only a very, very close friend will come in and say, hey, Shireen, I will clean that house with you. So that is the gratitude and reverence that should be in your heart. Then whether you cut them out or not, Shireen, is not for me to say, my love. The contracts of old parents and offspring who are not available to give care to them and place staff to do the job of caregiving, would that mean avoidance of duty? I don't know. Again, Nilaya, these are, never judge anything by an external appearance. Who knows that taking care and not taking care may be what that old mother or old father asked for. I don't know that. So we can't answer these things. And because we don't know, Nilaya, we can never judge. Because the truth is, you are not, Nilaya, you are not aware of your own soul blueprint in detail. Forget about knowing someone else's soul blueprint, right? Okay, so Tushita, you can, of course, you can unmute and ask.
Thank you, Auntie. My question was, right now you had mentioned that there are these integration points where you have these positive soul contracts which
Yes. Yep.
allow you to rest
Yep.
and breathe. My question is that what if right now there is no positive contract identifiable in someone's life?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it a possibility that there is absolutely no positive contract at the moment? Or does that stem from something else? Like, is there a karmic template being active over there? Like, what is going on?
Lovely
Because
question, Tushita. I love that. First of all, let me tell you, there is never a point in time that a positive contract will not be present. There will at least be one, always. You may not recognize it. Yes. It may not be a positive contract like a best friend, right? It may be a positive contract like a very loyal, loving staff member. It may be a positive contract of a teacher. It may be a positive contract of someone you know who's not a very close friend, but who's always there in your corner or wants to listen to you when you talk. You have to say, yes, I recognize that, right? You may not recognize that. That yes, there can be times when there are more negative, so-called negative contracts than positive contracts. Tushita, yes, there can be. I have found in work with my clients that sometimes these positive contracts are not as readily apparent for one reason and one reason alone. There is a huge karmic template of emotional dependency, of clinginess. If you had more positive contracts, you would not work on the negative ones. You would emotionally rely on the positive ones and not work on that contract. Right? So that can also happen.
Right. So emotional depend. So it's like you're not able to trust the fact that this person can be a positive contract, as in
Yeah, it
that's
could
the
be. It could
so,
be that
so
there is a lack of trust as well.
y-
As I said, Tushita, we are layer upon layer upon layer of different energies.
hmm.
We have to learn to be patient and unravel the layers. And it takes years. It doesn't take days or weeks or months. It takes years. But you have to love yourself enough to unravel yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, just one question.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so I try to summarize it. So I was married, I've been married 26 years.
Yep.
And my in-laws were good and then they were not. And anyway, lots of drama.
Yeah.
And I got to a space where I'm the daughter-in-law, I'm very polite, I'm very kind. I do what needs to be done. I also save them from not having the dignity of their own home. And I have this relationship with them where I'm not enmeshed, but I'm there for them. And I allow them their freedom because I know their dignity lies in their independence. So, but people observing us think we don't care about them, but it doesn't bother me. So does that mean I've actually achieved a level of
Oh, when I hear it, I certainly feel you've achieved a level of understanding, awareness, acceptance, letting go, and about people thinking and not thinking, who the hell cares?
yes? So is it like a karmic template with them that I've
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
cleared?
Yeah.
Is that what it looks like?
Yep.
Okay.
101%.
Thank you.
Nilaya, sweetheart, there should be no guilt about anything at all. Not only soul contracts. There are sometimes, Nilaya, we do things that we are not proud of. I promise you, there have been things in my past, and I'm not talking about another incarnation, I'm talking about this lifetime, where I've done things where I'm not proud of how I was at that time, or how I behaved at that time, or what I did at that time. But there's no guilt. I did what I did due to the karmic contracts, due to the huge amount of ignorance I had at that time. So you work on yourself, you better yourself, you love yourself, and that is evolution. Guilt will never let you evolve. So
Can I
yes,
also
you regret what you've done. You don't have guilt about it.
can I also ask one question?
Yes, Jyoti?
Yeah. So my question is, like, if someone have positive contracts also in the
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
but the person does not feel a kind of, that connection with them,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact connection with the self also is not that big. It's like you are in the crowd, but yeah, you are among your own people, but you feel kind of emptiness and loneliness inside.
Yep.
And there is not actually nothing that you enjoys.
Yep.
Because there is always like, suppose you're eating also something and it's like, yeah, very tasty, but at the same time you're feeling that emptiness and that vacuum constantly. So what
Jyoti,
I mean,
what is coming through for me right now when I'm talking to you is a huge and heavy karmic template of joylessness. And
yes.
JadeFire has made us understand that there is not a single human being in this world who doesn't have that karmic template. Like non-forgiveness, joylessness is a massive karmic template that we all have. Some of us have worked on it. It's still not gone, but we've worked on it. You need to work on it a little bit more, my love.
Okay. And it should start with the forgiveness to the self, or how it should be?
It should start with doing things that you make you happy, whether it is dancing, whether it is singing, whether it is running on the beach, whether it is,
I have tried that. Like, what happens with me is I'll do it for 3-4 days,
yeah,
and then I'll leave it.
yeah. So the
There is no
enmeshed in it
consistency.
is the karmic template of lack of self-love. So you see, sweetheart, you're going to have to, it's all a little bit of a mess. Slowly,
Yeah.
slowly start with one and the other and a third. I hope you will join my workshop on November 2nd. I will be sending out the things to you all.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
you'll get your answer of how to work. Can be new acquaintances, possibly found friendships, even if I completely. Yes, absolutely. Tushita, a positive contract doesn't have to be an old friend. It can be a new friendship, no, that begins, but you have to trust in it, right? Okay, let's start. This is lovely. So the soul first creates that calibration within, ensures that the energy is calibrated, that the physical body energies are calibrated in order to house the soul with all of its holographic energy field. It then starts entering the zones. Actually, it doesn't enter the zones, it creates the zones. Okay, it's actually now in the process of creating the chakric zones. It enters the physical body and then creates the root chakric zone first. In this chakric zone of the root, it implants the energies where all the choices that the soul has made for lessons to be learned in self-identity. Write this down. It implants in the root chakric zone all the lessons that the soul has chosen to learn in this incarnation dealing with self-identity. It then creates the chakric zone of the sacral chakra, where it implants all the lessons that the soul has chosen to learn about self-connection, connecting with yourself, loving yourself. Then it creates the solar plexus chakra, the zone, where it implants in that zone all the energies of all the lessons that the soul wants to learn regarding self-mastery. In other words, self-sovereignty, mastery of self. I am a divine being. That is self-mastery. Then it creates the heart chakra zone, where it implants all the energies of all the lessons of self-acceptance. Then it creates the throat chakra energy zone, where it implants the energies of all lessons pertaining to self-expression. Then it creates the third eye zone where it implants all the lessons pertaining to self-awareness. And then it creates the crown zone where it implants all, there are not, these we can't call lessons, all possibilities, all opportunities for self-realization. So I'm repeating again, self-identity, self-connection, self-mastery, self-acceptance, self-expression, self-awareness, and self-realization. Have you understood that there is not a single lesson here pertaining to the outside world? There is not a single lesson pertaining to an individual, to a situation, to anything that is outside of you. JadeFire said a very beautiful statement. He said, your journey of ascension is not upwards, it's inwards. Your journey of ascension is not upwards, it's inwards. When we work with our karmic templates in the third part of this program, these are the lessons we have to keep in mind. That these lessons are all about the self. And those soul contracts that come into your life are teaching you these lessons about yourself. What is it in you that you lack? So if there is a self-esteem lesson that you have to learn, right? You could look at your sacral chakra and the heart chakra. If there are lessons that you have to learn about gaining your own power, standing your own ground, not allowing yourself to be abused, not allowing aggressors to take advantage of you, even if they are soul contracts, you have to learn those. Then you have to work with the solar plexus energy where all of these lessons are hidden, because you have to learn self-mastery, self-sovereignty. So that is how the soul enters the body. It has already recalibrated the physical energy. It will now begin to recalibrate the emotional and mental energy fields, because the chakric zones will also have information of all your emotions, of all your beliefs and all your thought patterns. So the physical energy is calibrated, then the soul enters, it creates the zones, and then it begins to recalibrate the emotional and mental energy fields. It begins to recalibrate the entire energy of all the zones, so that the soul reaches that perfect point of energy frequency. Now, this perfect point of energy frequency is not fixed. It will continually change. If your karmic templates are being strengthened and become even deeper because of all your reactions, because of your stubbornness and resistance to change, because of your inability to stop judging, because of your inability to forgive, because of your inability to love yourself, because of your inability to accept yourself and others, if all of this is continually happening to you, then the karmic energy becomes even stronger, And the soul's energy has to be recalibrated in order to get more dense, because now the karmic energy is heavier. But if you have, through your life, you have understood the purpose, you have worked on your templates, you have worked on your emotions, you have worked on shifting the belief systems, then the soul's energy is once again recalibrated and the frequencies become faster, higher, quicker. So you see, the soul's energy it enters the physical body, calibrates itself, and then continually changes this calibration. Continually changes the calibration. So when you sit for a meditation and you feel that, I feel so good, I feel expansed, I feel that sense of complete serenity and peace, it's because what you are doing has made the soul recalibrate its energies, and the energies are now vibrating at a much faster frequency, bringing you that expansed feeling. But an hour after the meditation is over, or 2 hours after the meditation is over, you are back to your judgment, you are back to your cruelty, you are back to your meanness. The soul recalibrates itself again, and the energies start becoming slower, because now the higher energies cannot be supported. As the soul is entering these chakric zones, it is also implanting the energies of templates. In every chakric zone, JF says there are 3 foundational templates. Based upon these 3 foundational templates will come the presence of several other templates. But all those templates will be a version of the 3 foundational templates. JF says, if you want to make it really easy for yourself, don't allow your mind to analyze, do I have this template? Do I have that template? He says every single human being has all of the 3 foundational templates of all the chakric zones. All. These are universal. So the foundational templates of every chakric zone are universal. What shifts and what is individual and unique and specific to each one of us are the branches, let us say, that come out of these foundational templates. Your branch may be different from my branch, but the root is the same. The foundation is the same. So JF says that though you may want to work on those branches because that is what you experience so strongly, what would be more effective and definitely would make things easier is not working on those branches, because then you have to identify each one of those branches, and there may be a 50 or 100 of them, but working on 3 foundational templates in every chakric zone, nothing more and nothing less. Now, in the root chakra, the foundational templates are scarcity, template of scarcity, template of abandonment, and template of exile or belonging, which means you just don't feel you belong anywhere. In your sacral chakric zone, the energies implanted there of the 3 foundational templates are the energies of abandonment in intimacy, which my client and I were discussing. Abandonment in intimacy, guilt, and suppression of the creative force and the feminine energy. Solar plexus. The three foundational karmic templates are abuse of power, enslavement, and loss of sovereignty. Abuse of power, enslavement, and loss of sovereignty. In the heart chakra, the karmic templates, three foundational karmic templates, are betrayal, grief, and conditional affection, conditional love, which is the human love. Interesting, isn't it? That the human love is actually a karmic template. The human love is actually a karmic template. Throat, the three foundational templates in the throat is enforced silence, the template of enforced silence, the template of persecution, and the template of abuse or misuse of words. So, abuse or misuse of expression. Third eye, the three foundational templates are misuse of cosmic awareness, cosmic vision, cosmic wisdom, misusing that. The second one is the template of illusion, believing that illusion is reality, unable to separate illusion from reality, refusing to separate illusion from reality. When we refuse to separate illusion from reality, we continue to be judgmental. We continue to blame. We continue to talk against people. We continue to talk about people in a really harsh manner. And the third template is the denial of your higher energies, the denial of your higher energies, that your higher energies don't exist. You know, when people talk in terms of there is nothing like soul, it's all rubbish, the physical is all that is, and after death, there is no afterlife, there is nothing, that is a karmic template. In the crown chakra, the karmic templates, and yes, there are karmic templates in the crown chakra as well, in the chakric zone, separation from source. Now, this is an interesting karmic template, so I'd like to explain it a little better. When we are disconnected from ourselves, it is because we are really disconnected from source. We are not connected to our soul energy. We are not connected to our higher soul. We are not connected to our divine soul. And because there is lack of connectivity, there is lack of connectivity in the inside. So separation from source. A second template in the crown chakra, which is very important to remember, is spiritual arrogance, where you believe that you are better than others because you are so spiritually aware. And you know, the truth is, if you were spiritually aware, if you were genuinely spiritually aware, you would not judge another. You would accept anyone and everyone and anything and everything that's going around you, because you would realize that there is a truth that maybe you cannot see at present. And the last karmic template in the crown chakric zone is disconnection from guidance. Not only do you not make an attempt to connect, but you also refuse to listen to the guidance that comes through. And the guidance comes through for all of us, whether we do something or we don't do something. The guidance is constant. It is our responsibility to make our inner space free, enough of freedom from the karmic templates so that we can receive the guidance, so that we can access the guidance. Then, of course, we have to live through that guidance and apply it. So, once these chakric zones are created and the energy is recalibrated, the soul ensures that now it is going to determine and influence every single part of your life. The soul influences and determines every single part of your life. It influences the physical, which means yesterday we discussed how lower back pain, glandular issues, issues with the legs or the hands, digestive order disorders, tightness in the chest, unable to breathe, right? When there is tightness in the chest or there is something like an asthma or you're unable to breathe, means that there are very, very heavy karmic templates in the heart chakra which you must address. Then things like chronic sore throats. There was a time in my life I would continually have things like laryngitis, pharyngitis, all the time, till I worked so deeply upon the throat. Now, whatever happens, very, very rarely will I have a sore throat. So, which is fantastic. So, the physicality can definitely be influenced in order to draw our attention. How does the soul draw our attention emotionally? Right? By emotions like fear, emotions like shame, emotions like anger. If you feel shame, the soul is drawing your attention to the sacral chakric zone. If you are feeling fear, it is drawing your attention to the root chakric zone. If you are feeling anger, it is drawing your attention to the solar plexus chakric zone. If you are feeling grief, it is drawing your attention to the heart chakric zone. If you are, if there is a feeling of I can't speak my truth, there's anxiety, there's suppression, you're keeping yourself forcefully quiet, it's drawing yourself to the throat chakric zone. If you are constantly feeling confused and disoriented and you need other people to validate the decisions, you want other people to make decisions for you, it is drawing your attention to the third eye chakric zone. And if you are feeling depressed, if you are feeling a sense of desperation that nothing, if there is that hopelessness that you're feeling, then it's drawing your attention to the crown chakric zone. It also draws your attention to the mental energies. Your soul draws attention to your mental energies. So JadeFire has given me a few belief systems. If you are feeling any of these, then you need to work on the karmic templates. The root chakric zone can give you a mental belief of, I am not safe. The sacral chakric zone can give you a mental belief of, I don't belong. The solar plexus chakric zone can give you the mental belief of, I am not as good or I am better than others. Then the heart chakric zone can give you a mental belief of, I must do something to earn love, that I am unlovable, and only if I do something, only if I am a certain way, only then can I get love. The throat chakric zone gives you the belief system that whatever I say doesn't matter, right? My words don't have any value. The third eye chakric zone gives you a belief system that I can't trust myself. I have to continually ask others for help. And the last crown chakric zone gives you the belief system, that belief that I am abandoned by God. He just doesn't look after me, or she is never there, or whoever this he and she is that you think, you feel that the higher realms don't help you at all, that they have abandoned you. Now, it was interesting because JF said that the chakric system recalibrates itself initially every 7 years. Every 7 years, there is a major recalibration. The minor recalibrations take place on a daily basis, but there is a huge recalibration every 7 years initially. And this is what he explained. From birth to 7 years, the soul's energy calibrates itself in such a way that the root chakric zone and the sacral chakric zone are the strongest. The child at that age needs these two energy zones to develop. So from birth to 7 years, the chakric zone is calibrated in a way where root and sacral are very, very strong, because the child needs it at that time. From 7 years to 14 years, there is this, again, at 7 years, there is a huge recalibration. And from 7 years to 14 years, the solar plexus chakra is as strong as the root and the sacral. It's not stronger than. The solar plexus chakra becomes as strong as the root and the sacral. So from 7 to 14 years, the child begins to develop a sense of I am, a sense of my power. And that is why you will find, children at 10 and 11 and 12 will start saying, no, I don't want. And they will resist what you ask them to do, because they are developing their own power. Then at the age of 14, there is another huge recalibration of the chakric system, which is the soul energy, of course. And from 14 to 21, the heart and the throat chakra now become very, very strong. They are as strong as the other chakras, but they come into their own domination, the heart and the throat chakra. And that is why it is so easy for teenagers to fall in love, right? Because suddenly the heart chakra energy has become, is like, okay, here I am. So, and also between 14 to 21, so many parents and so many teachers will complain to me that, children these days, teenagers these days, they talk so rudely, and they do this and they do that, because the throat chakra is now coming into its own power. At 21 years is a huge recalibration. And at that time, the third eye and the crown chakra begin their development. They don't come into full power. The crown chakra and the third eye chakra begin to develop in power. And that power continues to develop till we die, at whatever age we do, depending upon how we live our lives, depending upon how we respond to soul contracts, depending upon how much work we do with our karmic templates. Yes, I think this is a good time to take your questions, because after that we are going to end with an amazing, delightful subject where we are going to end. How does the soul's energy leave the physical body at death? But before we go into that, we have to understand how whatever you want to ask about the soul's energy within. Skin issues, Nilaya, very, very often have to do with anger, have to do with lack of forgiveness, have to do with self-hatred, self-loathing. So that is, everything is happening for you and not to you. Yes, Jogs, haven't we been told that again and again and again by JadeFire? So true. Everything is happening for you and not to you. So if we can just remember that, I think every time there is a soul contract, we will be able to look for the purpose. No, I'm not going into every part of the body. Yesterday, we've discussed the physicalities, we've discussed all that. So I'm sorry, but if I go into if every one of us has some physical issue, we will not be able to move forward.
Hi, Elle. I just have three things.
Yeah.
This list of lessons you referred to just now, how do we, like, the list of lessons that
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
that you look through the list of lessons.
Yeah.
Where can I find that?
No, it's not about look through the list of lessons. These are
But yeah,
lessons that are there.
yes.
What I have wanted to do for a while, if JadeFire would give me a little bit of breathing space, is is actually to sit with him and say, okay, give me a whole list, well, as comprehensive
Right.
as
Yes.
possible, of not only he's given the 3, but so many want to work on the branches of the 3 templates instead of just the foundational, whereas he believes that just work on the foundational. But I know that I've been using this work to do work with my clients as well, and many of them want me to work with the particular karmic template. So I want to sit down with him and I want to get that list, and I want to know how to deal with each particular one. So when
Okay.
that happens, of course, I shall share.
Okay. Then this whole thing about how does this concept of don't listen to your mind fit in with this way of thinking of the soul?
So I'm so happy you asked this question.
Okay.
The mind is here to help us make sense of our current reality. We cannot undervalue that, right?
Okay.
Because none of us are going and living in a cave in a forest. So the mind is very important for that, right? So if there is a riot going on outside, right, whatever may be my karmic template, my mind tells me unsafe to go out when there is a riot taking place, right? So the
Yes.
mind has to be listened to.
Okay.
But when the mind is making you judgmental, that is when the mind is not listened to. When the mind is making you label a person, that is when the mind is not to be listened to.
Okay.
So we also have to use our power of discernment. When are we
Yes.
listening to that mind and when are we not?
Right.
Yeah. I think
And
I'm nearing
last
a
question.
calibration as I will turn 35. No, so Jyoti, after 21, the 7-year period is not valid, right? 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. After that, the recalibrations take place depending on our journeys, depending on how we are living, how we are evolving, how we are not evolving, all of that. Yes, Sushita.
So my question is all over the place, but my question is that having identified
Mm.
that like right now that you said that the mental beliefs, of all, I identified that the root and solar, there's
Yeah.
major shit going on there. And even like, yes, from yesterday's, like I realized that in that zone, in these 2 zones, like the root zone, solar zone, including like the first layer and stuff, I have a lot of work to do.
Mm.
And having identified that non-forgiveness is a karmic template I have to work on,
Mm.
aggression, and as of today, emotional dependency. What is it that how do we identify like what to focus on, and what is it that
Thank you, Tushita, for that. There is no right starting point, Tushita. And why is there no starting point? Because we know from yesterday's discussion, it's a lattice work. Wherever you start from, the energies are going to go into everything, right? So there is no right starting point. You start from wherever you want. So if you feel, no, I think I want to start with the karmic templates in the sacral chakra, please start.
Okay. So I shouldn't get overwhelmed and go like, oh
Not
my
at
God,
all,
I'm
not
like
at all.
not
And
helping
please
myself.
understand that you don't have to work in this linear fashion where you don't have to do the root and then the sacral and then no. And remember what JadeFire said, that at any point in time, working with just 2 chakric zones is more than enough. So you could work with the sacral and the heart. When you work with the root, JadeFire says it's always better when you work with the root to work with the crown. The reason is the root chakra grounds you and the crown chakra helps you get connection. So JadeFire says try to always work with chakric pairs, not one chakra, 2 chakric pairs. So you could work with the sacral and the heart. You could work with the sacral and the throat, let us say. So working in pairs gives you, according to JadeFire, gives you an added push for healing and removal and liberation of the templates.
Right. So, and Ho'oponopono is the thing.
That is, of course, that's a given. There is no other. You have to use
So
the
that
whole
is, so essentially what yesterday was the guidance you gave, like just start chanting the statements,
Yep.
which I did
Yep.
today, and I did notice a difference, by the way. And I really started to identify how I was feeling in my environment.
Yeah.
And conscious, so the idea is you consciously, like every time I felt insecure, every time I felt like, oh my God, someone else is getting more attention than me, every time I felt like, oh my God, I'm not good enough, like these were feelings that I felt, and
Yeah.
every time I felt less than, and as you say, like not so good, I
Yeah.
said, okay, thank you for bringing this to my awareness.
Yep.
I appreciate it. And then I would start, like literally I spent like 3 hours just doing Ho'oponopono.
Yeah.
And it
So,
did
a lovely way to do it. This is how I do my work when I do Ho'oponopono. I first just sit with the energy of that thing that I want to eliminate. So, yesterday I shared with you, I'm being made to work with the energy of the template of non-forgiveness. So, first I just sit quietly and I breathe into that energy. Okay, I just breathe into that energy. Now, the non-forgiveness has come through the betrayal. So I'm going to work with my heart and I'm going to work with the sacral. For me, that was my inner guidance. So I'm working with 2 zones, the sacral chakric zone and the heart chakric zone. So I just sit quietly and I breathe into those zones. And then after a few moments of breathing into those zones, I actually name the template. When I name that template, I am acknowledging that this is my template. I am taking responsibility for that template. So I name that template, that I take responsibility for the liberation, clearance of the template of non-forgiveness. I actually say these words. And then I start the Ho'oponopono.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So non-forgiveness is which zones?
I am working with the heart and the sacral.
So we can decide
Yeah. Yeah.
non-forgiveness,
So you
and
see,
I
when
would
you name that and you take responsibility, the very fact that you're taking responsibility means that you have released the other person from blame.
right. Yeah. So I can choose the zones that I can work where non-forgiveness is concerned.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you for the clarity.
How does our soul connect or sense other souls? Through gratitude only. Suvinder, I'm not sure I understand that question.
Okay, so like the positive contracts, you kind of have a feeling about the person and you sort of feel, okay, yes, I connect.
So you're talking about the negative contracts to connect to
Yeah.
them as well.
Yes, yes.
And that is only through gratitude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because when it's positive, you kind of have gratitude
Yeah,
to them for
yeah,
something. So,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
When
Thank
intuitively
you.
we get guidance about a particular karmic template, would just being aware of it heal, or do we start acting out the opposite to help neutralize it? Nilaya, fantastic question. Becoming aware of it is half the battle in everything, right? But then you have to do something about it. For example, let me give you an example. Suppose you are aware that in the throat chakric zone, there is the karmic chakra, the karmic template of untruth, dishonesty, right? Becoming aware of that is great, right? But you have to take steps, which means A, you have to start the Ho'oponopono healing. But B, which is as important, Nilaya, you have to take physical action, which means if the throat chakric zone has the karmic template of untruth or dishonesty, you have to ensure that you take responsibility to not speak a lie, right? If there is the chakric karmic template of fear, yes, you will work with the Ho'oponopono, but you will also continually take responsibility to hold yourself in faith, in trust. So, yes, you have to do other things as well. Awareness itself is not enough. So, we come to the final where we are going to wind down, and as the soul winds down its journey, right? Just as there is divine timing in everything, there is divine timing for the soul to leave. The soul in the last few years, the incarnated soul, along with the higher soul, has been given free will choice for the moment of death. That doesn't mean that you go and commit suicide. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm not talking about the physical brain saying, I want to die, because that is the template of avoidance, right? I'm talking about the soul, the incarnated soul and the higher soul together having been granted the free will choice of the moment of death. When I had asked GF, and this information had come some time ago, when I had asked GF, why are we given this free will choice? He said, because humanity has evolved, which is lovely. Sometimes when I look around, I don't feel I'm seeing the evolution, but obviously my template of judgmentalism is coming through over there, and humanity is evolving. So with that evolution, we have been given this amazing right, a divine right to decide, this is it, I'm done. Please understand, the brain does not make that choice. I can't repeat that enough. The brain does not make that choice. Once that free will choice is made by the soul, as in the incarnated soul and the higher soul, the soul's energy starts recalibrating. Yes, I forgot to tell you this. This is something JadeFire told me right now, not at that time. He says this free will choice can be exercised if the soul blueprint energy permits it. If the soul blueprint energy permits it, then the soul is given that permission by the divine soul. This is your moment. And in any case, as JF says, the soul is such a hugely expansed field of energy. It would never use that free will choice to avoid the soul blueprint. Because the death is not about avoiding your soul blueprint. Death is a completion. Death is a gathering of wisdom. And JF explained this so beautifully to me. He says, death is not an end or a beginning. It's a gathering of wisdom in order to give, let me see if I get the words clearly because I loved this sentence. It's a gathering of wisdom in order to give momentum to a lifetime in future. And for me, that was so beautiful that I am saying, okay, I've got all of this wisdom. Now I'll gather it and it will impel me, it will give me the momentum to move into another lifetime. And that was such a joyful definition of death, right? Instead of it being something that you grieve about. So the soul makes that decision, and then it has to remember it recalibrated energies when it came in. It now has to start recalibrating energies to leave, because the physical body cannot shut down if the soul is still present. The soul has to entirely leave the body for the physical body to start the shutting down process and to end the shutting down process. How does it recalibrate? I loved this part. I just loved this part. And I'm going to very closely look at my notes so that I do not get anything wrong. So JF first started this explanation by saying the chakras never die. And he elaborated by making me remember that the chakras are nothing else but the soul's energy, and therefore the soul's energy never dies, so the chakras never die. They dissolve back into the subtle energy that is non-incarnated. They dissolve, that whole energy dissolves back into the subtle energy that is non-incarnated. But before that process, the chakric zones have to start separating themselves from the physical body. Remember, our soul was attached, the nape of the neck, the shoulders, the lower back, the lower abdomen. You remember that? We discussed that yesterday. So it has to now gently start detaching from the physical body. And when it starts that process, very often the people who are watching their loved one preparing for death can actually see that the physical body is going through certain changes. So JF has not only given me how the soul departs, but he's also given me what touched my heart so deeply. He's given me what we can do to help a person who is departing, so that that person departs with ease, that person departs with peace, that person departs with serenity. But to help a person to depart, we have to be in the consciousness of death, that death is only a process of gathering this energy of wisdom in order to give us momentum for a future lifetime. So, although JF has given it to us in a certain linear fashion, he very quickly went on to say that most times this linear fashion is not adhered to, right? The linear fashion is, of course, root and sacral and solar, but he says most times it does not adhere to a linear fashion. Wherever the soul's energy is loosened first, is where the soul's energy will detach first. So it can be any chakra in any order, but for the sake of convenience, I am going to start with the root. Although he did say that most times, at most times, the root chakric zone energy is the first to detach itself. And it detaches itself first. Why? Because now survival, physicality, attachment to matter is not needed anymore. So it kind of detaches itself and lets go of that. I don't need food, clothing, home, shelter. I don't need all of that. So it detaches itself. What should you do at that time? I'm going to read out the words exactly as given. Hold their feet. Remind them that they are safe, that they are loved, and that the earth continues to hold them safe even as they release their physical body. Isn't that just so beautiful? And as the root chakra energy winds down, the soul starts detaching from the sacral chakra energy. As it's detaching from the sacral chakra energy, very often the soul will let go of the emotional entanglements. Sometimes there is a very clear moment of forgiveness. There is a clear moment of acceptance, which people around can also see. At this time, encourage the person to speak if they should wish to, because through that speech could come, I love you, I forgive you. So encourage that person to speak. Let them know that it is okay to feel so deeply. Let them know that it is okay for them to weep if they wish to. Let them know that it is okay for them to remember their entire life. Touch their hands, touch their abdomen with a lot of love, which will help them to release. Then we come to the solar plexus. As the energies are being calibrated for departure, the solar plexus dissolves its grip on ego. It kind of finally says goodbye to its old ally. So it gives up on the ego. It lets go of I want and I must and I have to. It lets go of all of that. It lets go of control. It lets go of ambition. At this point, speak very softly to the soul and say, it's okay to let go. You have done enough for now. You are free to leave. As you are saying this, gently touch them mid-back, if you can, the middle of the back. Or if you can't, then touch their belly and very gently help them to let go of the control. Then the heart center, the heart chakric zone rather, begins to recalibrate its energies, and the soul lets go of all relationships. And he says this is so important because the soul needs to let go of relationships with children, with loved ones, with family. But the soul also needs to let go of its relationship with earth. So all relationships are eased away. And at that time, JF says, play some soft music, have a prayer that is going on softly in the background, not loudly in the background. If the soul desires silence, don't have any prayer, don't have any music. If the soul is desiring silence, sit in silence with the soul. Intermittently, you can tell the soul, you are very loved. You are surrounded by love. And where you are going, love is going with you. Then we come to the throat chakric zone that is being recalibrated. And you, here with the throat, you sit in silence. If the soul wishes to speak, let them speak. But you sit in silence. Give the person the freedom and the space to express if they should want to. If the person is not desirous of expressing anything, if the person is desiring of staying silent, then mentally you could start a little bit of prayer, whatever prayer that you want. And remember, the soul is now in this final throes of departure. So the soul will pick up on the energy of your prayers. You could also just sit and hum very softly. So it kind of gently calms the soul. Then we come to the third eye. As the soul is leaving its illusions of earth behind, right? It's leaving the illusions of earth behind. The soul may connect to, and very often does, the illusions are falling away, and the soul is now able to envision the reality as it is. It's able to envision the afterlife. It's able to see its loved ones and realize, oh my God, no one is really dead. Everyone is still there, right? Do not dismiss their visions. Don't tell them, this is not true. Don't think about this. No. Accept whatever they are saying. Even if for you it sounds foolish, do not dismiss their visions. Listen to them. Honor what they are saying. And respond. Actually respond by saying, yes, I do see that. Yes, I hear you. Yes, I can feel how excited you are. So respond to those visions. And the crown finally opens, allowing the soul to rise and reconnect. And that is always the last. The crown cannot open first. At that moment, the soul is completely departing. Remember, the soul will leave the physical body, but will be around the physical body for at least 15 minutes to half an hour. So once the doctor has said time of death, etc., don't start a loud weeping or loudly talking, or no, maintain silence, maintain reverence, maintain peace and serenity for 15 minutes to half an hour. Be with that body, because remember, the soul is still with its physical body. It is bidding goodbye to its physical body. So whatever you say, the soul is listening. Be very, very conscious of that. So sit in silence. If you want, you can continually tell them that you love them. You can pray. You can do whatever you wish. It's a very sacred moment where the soul is ending one incarnation. So treat that moment with a lot of reverence and a lot of respect. As the soul is recalibrating itself, there are two things it is doing. One is it is gathering all the energies of wisdom from that chakric zone. And two, it is gathering what JadeFire calls unfinished resonance, which means lessons unlearned, wounds unhealed, templates unassimilated. So it's gathering unfinished resonance, and it's gathering vibrational resonance of wisdom. Both of these are being gathered they're being gathered into the actual fabric of the soul's energy, and they leave the body with that fabric of the soul's energy. And then that vibrational resonance of wisdom and the unfinished resonance will become the foundational stones for the next incarnation, which is where we come to an end of this beautiful journey that we have all been on with my beloved JadeFire.
Elle, may I ask a
Of
question?
course, of course, of course.
Elle, many a times we've heard of people who have expired and then the doctor has declared them dead and then they've come back to life.
mm.
How does that really happen?
Obviously, the soul has not left. The body has gone into a state of very, very low pulse where even medicine can sometimes make a mistake.
Okay, thank you.
May I ask a question?
Yes, of course, please.
What happens in all this? I've known to me a couple of people who have died in really horrific major accidents.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
is the position of the soul in such
So,
cases?
Aruna, that JadeFire has not given me.
Okay.
Yeah, because that is a completely different process. The soul doesn't have the time. Unless the soul in the blueprint had chosen that kind of death,
Okay.
then unknown to us, the soul has already started recalibrating. But there are times when that kind of death has not really been chosen, but it has happened, right? And these things happen in a physical dimension. JadeFire says that process of recalibration is entirely different, which he has not shared with me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have put here the link to clearing karmic templates, the program for November 2nd. So you can copy down this link, or you can copy and paste it somewhere, or go from here to that link. I don't know how it works, but it's there for you. I've put it there for you. Thank you so much, Yachna. Thank you. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Aruna. Thank you so much, love.
Hi, Elle. Can I say something?
Yes, of course.
So I was there when both my parents passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I was 24 and 30 at the time.
Mm.
And so much of what you described, I felt I could sense it at the time. And because we always do prayers. And so when my cat passed a few years ago, I did the same.
Yeah.
And it felt exactly the same. Yeah, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. And I asked JF that how will I know if I'm standing or sitting next to a person? How will I know that now it's the solar plexus, now it's the root, now it's the throat? And he says, you don't need to. I've given you what to do. Just do it. Just do it. You don't need to know whether it's now the solar plexus. Don't get so technical. Just do it. Okay, everyone. Thank you very, very much for being here with me. I'm hoping to see all of you and more of you on November 2nd. I have already put it out. It's on my website, but I shall put it out on my social media as well. And of course, I will put it out on the events group on WhatsApp. If any one of you wants to be on that group, it's a group where I put up all my events and meditations and channelings, etc. If any of you are not on that WhatsApp group but would like to be on that WhatsApp group, here is my number and you can message me. Thank you, Aruna.
Well, can I just share one thing, please,
Yes.
about my husband?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember meeting him. He had come for just one meeting.
Of course, I remember meeting him very,
Yeah,
very
he
much
was
so.
sort of atheist and like Tusa. He used to call me Tusa. You have to show me proof God is there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but strangely, after he passed away, he's been guiding me a lot. I found it
Aruna, thank you for sharing this, because he's got that karmic template in the third eye, right? But when he is not incarnated, he can see that, oh my God, I was reacting out of that karmic template.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, guys. Big hug to everyone. Have a lovely Sunday evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Elle.
This will be
Thank you.
available on my YouTube channel tomorrow morning. Of course, yesterday's is already on my YouTube channel. Feel free to share both the videos with whoever you want. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Elle. Thank you.